Auzubillahiminashaitanirrajeem. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and a very warm welcome to World This Morning. I am your host Hajra Sati and joining me is my wonderful co-host Ahmed Nawaz. Assalamu alaikum Ahmed.
Walaikum assalam. Good morning and
Good morning.
thank you very much for the introduction. As always,
Right.
Hajra always makes me feel, that energy levels are up and everything is up and going. And of course, we've got some very interesting things to discuss on the show today and no more, because we always talk about Pakistan having so much potential when it comes to its resources, our global positioning in the world and all of these things involved.
And the connectivity and the business environment which is flourishing, and before that the Prime Minister was also talking about it, especially with regards to the CPAC and the BRI. So to further delve into this topic and the ease of the business, so we have a very wonderful guest in the studio and I'm really honored, we are really honored to have him in the studio. So without any further ado, I would like to introduce the CEO of Pakistan Single Window, Syed Aftab Haider Saab. Assalamu alaikum sir, and thank you so much for coming to our show.
Assalamu alaikum and thank you very much for having me.
Well, good morning. How are you, sir?
I am fantastic.
Well, the name itself, Pakistan Single Window, just tells us how efficient things are going to be. Single window is the need of the hour everywhere. But one of the flagships right now, and I think a big achievement, is the ongoing Peer Learning Initiative conference event that Pakistan Single Window has just hosted. So if you could please brief us about that.
Ahmed, thank you very much. And before I start telling you about the PLI event that we are hosting right now in Islamabad, I think it would be appropriate to give you a very brief introduction of what the single window is, because when we talk about windows, everyone thinks that we are constructing a physical window and there would be people standing behind that, providing services. So basically, Pakistan Single Window is a federal government initiative. It is part of our compliance commitments under the World Trade Organization's Trade Facilitation Agreement. And what we are doing is developing a digital platform for exchange of information on real-time basis. And the ultimate aim is to digitize all our cross-border processes. So it means that all your imports, exports, transit operations that are happening either in Pakistan, from Pakistan, or through Pakistan, they're all going to be digitized. You don't have to go to any customs office, any of the trade regulators' office. You do your digital payments, and this is how it works. But single window is just not confined to a national territory. The concept that's emerging is that you need to integrate globally, regionally, and that's the initiative that we have taken. So the Peer Learning Initiative basically is an initiative taken by the UN International Trade Center. They have this fabulous project running in Central Asia that involves the countries of Kazakhstan, Kyrgyz Republic, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan. And I was there in May to moderate a session, and I was really inspired by what the people were doing over there in terms of digitization of their trade information portals, single window systems, and I could see the potential for collaboration. So we invited them over. And so right now we have delegates from all these 4 countries being hosted by us in Islamabad. And what we are doing is basically exchanging ideas, experiences, best practices on how we can reform trade and customs processes to reduce the time and cost of doing business, to enhance regional trade and connectivity. And I was just listening to the Prime Minister's speech, and I think this event could not have come at a better time because the Prime Minister is there and he's talking about enhancing regional trade. And this is what single window integration is all about.
Okay, and we have seen the Prime Minister also talked about the BRI flagship project of the CPAC, and obviously Pakistan wants to connect to the regional world out there, towards the global world out there. And where do you think fits the trade expansionism, and where did your organization comes into view?
Well, again, that's again a very good question. One of the most innovative things that we are doing is that we are enabling Pakistan to connect with international systems electronically. Now, if you look at the way we trade, what happens is that if you want to import something from China, for example, container is dispatched, it comes to Pakistan, it spends a lot of time on the ports because the importers have to provide the documentation in physical formats, have to go to different offices, get the stamps, and get the clearances. And normally it takes more than 5 to 6 days for a single container to get cleared from the ports in Karachi, and that is too much time if you benchmark it against the best countries in the world. What we are doing, for example, for starters, are also in discussions with China. The cabinet just approved the framework cooperation agreement that we have agreed with China to integrate our single window with China's single window.
Wonderful.
And what we hope to achieve by that is that all the information from China will be coming directly in our system. So you don't need any paper. The container comes at Karachi port, the information is already there with customs and other trade regulators, and they just immediately clear the container within a few hours.
It's verified immediately.
And it's verified immediately, authentic, reliable information provided by China Customs and other government agencies. That's a breakthrough. Pakistan Customs, of course, is the lead agency for single window. The single window company itself is a national company, it's a state-owned company. We have people from the Ministry of Commerce, Customs, and different government agencies working with us. But for a lot of interface that we have within the government, it's Pakistan Customs, which is the official lead agency.
It has dynamically.
Yeah, of course. And so this framework agreement is one of the developments that everyone is actually looking at with great interest, because China, as far as we know, has just one arrangement in place, and that is with Singapore. So if we achieve this integration, we hope that the Prime Minister would be in China by the end of this month, and this agreement would be signed by both sides. But if this happens, inshallah, we would probably be the second country to be integrated with China directly.
Which is, of course, I think a massive achievement on our part as well. Because technology is something that is revolutionizing the world right now, and we need to keep up. We've always been that, a step behind, and this is our time to probably make amends for this. But for far too long, our trade policies and dynamics have been, and this is my personal thought, of course, have been oriented towards European countries. We've been after the GSP plus status and whatnot. Could you also highlight the trade potential in Central Asian countries right now? Because SECA is happening, and the Prime Minister just said it as well, that if all of us are working together, be it through rail network, through the roads infrastructure, or by air and by sea, it is a phenomenal resource that is available in this region.
Look, historically, the Central Asian region and South Asian region have been connected. We all grew up listening to the stories of how caravans from Central Asia would come towards Pakistan bearing textiles and ceramic products and carpets, and would take back spices and other things from this region. For the last 50-60 years, probably the way international politics has shaped up, we have taken a pivot towards Europe and America. And of course, they remain our biggest export markets. Most of our exports go to the US and to EU, so there's a big interest that we have over there. But at the same time, for the last many years, the government of Pakistan is refocusing its efforts towards the Central Asian region. Unfortunately, despite the higher trade potential, the bilateral trade remains low, and one of the reasons for that is because there's not enough trade connectivity. If you need to go and visit Astana, for example, you'll have to transit through Dubai or one of the Middle Eastern states, and that's just not feasible for most of the Pakistani businessmen. So it's just not the single window that would help facilitate the contacts. We also need to have a very efficient transport routes in place. We need to have airline links in place to make sure that there's business-to-business contact. What we are doing as single window is we are trying to connect the Pakistani exporters with the Central Asian importers and provide a platform whereby they can enter into agreements.
Right, and adding to this conversation more, we have seen that Central Asian region is one which is very energy-rich region.
Yes.
And our neighborhood is very energy-deprived region when it comes to that. And of course, we can connect, we can provide a best platform to connect those regions when it comes to.
Yes, absolutely. CASA 1000 being one of those projects that has been deliberated a lot when it comes to this region as well.
And talking about the potential, of course, now we want to talk about what are the main challenges or hurdles that are there which hampers the trade connectivity.
Well, for starters, there's one thing, we have a problem on having secure, stable routes to Afghanistan. Afghanistan is a big player. They have this location whereby they have the access to Central Asian countries. And, even though Pakistani businesses are very comfortable in transiting through Afghanistan, the international partners, the international community still have issues over there. So that's one thing. But I hope that, with initiatives like the CISA summit and other bilateral arrangements that we have in place, that situation would also be restoring to normalcy, and we see a lot of growth and trade between Pakistan and the Central Asian republics. Again, as the single window operator, as somebody who's building this system, what we hope to do is to minimize human intervention. We would like to reduce the border clearance times, reduce the congestion, and shift as much work possible away from the physical spaces to the digital space, so that the consignments can just move seamlessly through the area. That is our aim. Once that happens and we are able to integrate with the Central Asian systems, I think there would be immense growth in the
How
regional trade.
important does then PLI become when
Yes.
when we talk about the exchange of data between these Central Asian states and us as well?
This is very, very important. I mean, and I think this connects to your question, Hajra, about the challenges. The biggest challenge that you usually have in these kind of programs is to have ownership and participation from all the stakeholders. When we think about single window, most of the people think that it's an IT intervention or a technology intervention. It's just not IT. It involves a lot of change management. It involves a lot of political ownership. You need to have a shared vision. And what the PLI does is that it's bringing all these different customs and trade experts from different countries into Pakistan, allowing them to create a network, bond, share ideas, and when they go back, they're going to go back with the capability that we have developed for integrating with the systems. And we hope that this would create enough ownership in those countries for making a headway for us.
Right.
Very interesting. I think, Hajar, when we talk about this domain, we see a lot of data exchange that can not just help in the realm of trade and port management, but there are many other domains which will open up eventually
Right.
because of this exchange of technology.
Right. So we have seen that Pakistan's single window is a big stakeholder when it comes to the regional or the trade connectivity. So what are you doing exactly in this field? Where do you fit in the equation?
So we provide a digital platform, and we are going beyond what most single windows do in the world. When you talk about how other countries have developed a single window, it's just paperless customs.
Right.
We are not just digitizing customs. Customs in Pakistan, alhamdulillah, was already digitized. We are digitizing the entire ecosystem for trade.
Wonderful.
We are a public sector company. Our platform is government owned, but at the same time, we are building linkages with the private sector. So I am very, very private sector oriented. I've invited most of the startups who are working in trade, transportation, logistics to come and join our platform. So for example, if there's a private sector company that works in trucking, come get integrated with our platform, and you have like 60,000 people who are using our platform right now. They would book your trucks using our platform for transit and trade.
So we're opening up business avenues for everybody.
Of course. And a lot of startups fail because they don't get access to the right audience. We are offering that platform. We have the legal backing. We have the government ownership. And like I said, we have like 80,000 people right now using our platform. So make use of that.
Right. And
Yes, please.
sorry.
No, please go ahead.
So I really wanted you to talk about the services that you are providing to the audiences.
That's very important, yes.
So right now, the first thing that we did is that we have introduced a digital Know Your Customer service. Basically, what it does is that it provides customs registration within a few minutes. Previously, it used to take 22 documents and maybe weeks to get customs registration. But now all you need is a national tax number. You put it in our system, and within 30 minutes, including the time that you need to go to another kiosk to do your biometrics, you are done, you get the registration, and you can start importing, exporting.
That's how efficient it has become.
It is very efficient, and it's like one of the most innovative things that we have done in the government sector. The other thing that we are doing is that we have digitized 5 government departments right now. It's the Department of Plant Protection, Federal Seed Certification Registration Department, PSQCA, Animal Quarantine Departments. These are all departments that have, amongst them, impact about 60% of all trade. So all their licenses, permits, everything is being issued electronically. People don't have to go to their offices. Significance of this reform is that if you have been to Karachi, the distance between the Department of Plant Protection office and the port is about 30 kilometers.
Okay.
And so you have to make multiple trips.
Depending on the traffic.
And depending on the traffic, it takes like hours to just get those stamps. Now everything has been eliminated. Go on the platform, get it electronically issued, doesn't take any time.
Absolutely. Well, Mr. Aftab Haider, thank you very much for joining us. It's been really insightful, and I think more than an organization or a company, I think it's a revolution that we've got as well. So I think the revolution aspect of it, how we're revolutionizing things, is very, very important. At this moment, what can we expect in the near future? I mean, PLI is one of these platforms where we're connecting. So as far as the exchange of data or the exchange of knowledge or more such events or initiatives are concerned, where we can probably come towards the conferences and exchange of experiences, is something to benefit from. So what can we see in the near future right now?
So inshallah, I mean, this was the first event that Pakistan Single Window hosted as a company, and we think that it announces our arrival on the international stage as a company, as a Pakistani-owned company that has international ambitions. And we think that this would be the first stepping stone for having more engagements on the international level. from next year onwards, we plan to have deeper engagements on all the multilateral platforms that the World Customs Organization offers, or UN ITC offers on in different areas. For example, we have just been invited to participate as a speaker in the World Customs Organization Technology Conference being organized next week in Holland, and I would be the only Pakistani who would be speaking in that. I think it's a great honor for the single window as well as for the country, because nobody really knows Aftab Heather, right? It's Pakistan and the single window that is bestowing that honor on us. So I mean, we are very proud of the journey that we have made so far. Alhamdulillah, we just hope that we would continue doing what we are doing. And there are a lot of exciting things coming.
But heroes can't be hidden, so you can't say people don't know Aftab. But you know, it's absolutely intriguing to find out doing something so visionary and serious and still keeping a killer smile on his face. You got to learn from the man himself. How's he able to put that up as well? But thank you very much, Aftab Saab, and all the best for the initiatives. And I think, like I always say, people like you and this organization are what Pakistan is all about. So thank you very much for your services.
Thank you very much as well, and I'm really thankful to the PTV World Management for giving us this opportunity.
Always there. Well, thank you very much. We talk about changing perspectives at PTV World, and of course, Single Window is doing that. So why not connect together as well? Well, we've got something very interesting coming up, Hajra. We're going to be talking about some more interesting facts and figures. It's going to be Hajra's realm now of research. But right after this short break, stay tuned to World This Morning.
Welcome back, and before going on to the break, we were talking about how it is very much important that we need to have a digitally connected world, especially when it comes to trade and connectivity, and not talking about other problems that provides it a unifying theme to fight against it. It is the one of the climate change, right?
Absolutely.
And Prime Minister was also talking about it in Astana, how Pakistan is a very climate stressed country. And to talk more about it, we have a wonderful guest in the studio who has been phenomenal force against the fight against the climate change. So Ahmed and I am very honored to be welcome. We welcome Sir Ahmed Kamal Saab, who is the Chief Engineering Advisor and the Chairman Federal Flood Commission. Assalamu alaikum, sir. Thank you so much for coming.
Assalam. I'm grateful to the Pakistan television for giving me yet another opportunity to share my views.
Wonderful. So, sir, we have seen that our Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, he went to New York, especially during this assembly session, and he talked about how Pakistan is advocating for a green Marshall Plan when it comes to that. How do you realize it's actually getting out, and what do you see in it?
Bismillah Rahman Rahim. I think that this is perhaps the right moment in the history of the country when we have been hit by perhaps globally the worst ever calamity, and this is nothing but that it is the after effects of the climate change. With regard to the question that you have put forth, I think that we need to bring in the green infrastructure, replacing the gray one, but at the same time we need to also ensure that our various flood protection as well as disaster resilient structures are converted from some traditional approaches to maybe out of box approaches. To name those, in the past there had been much debate on why should not we grow trees on our flood embankments, on our both sides of the rivers and all that, and why should not we place grass on the burn system instead of stone pitching or concreting them. Yes, this is very good, because once we place that, it is going to have manifold impact. Number one, it is going to support the stoppage of the seepage. Number two, it is going to support the stoppage of the erosive activity, which the high flows, when they are generated and a certain height, the bunds or the river embankments start eroding, so they are going to protect them. And finally, they are going to provide the ultimate slope stability, thereby reducing the operation and management cost of that structure. So otherwise, every year we need to have some funds allocated for those structures. So this is nothing but, and let me add one more sentence to that. Whatever the foreign minister has said, we need to now translate into some practical actions.
Reality as well. So because we're observing World Disaster Risk Reduction Day today, that's being observed. Recently, we've seen the might of nature in the recent flooding. And, no matter how much you prepare for this, Pakistan is a country that is at risk of disasters continuously. Flooding because of our glacier impacts, then earthquake because of the fault line, and, many other effects of climate change that we are seeing now. How important is it that on a national level, we have a policy of actually preparing for these disasters?
Let me share with you that the policies are always there, and they are there. We have got a very good DRR policy, disaster risk reduction policy. It was approved in 2012, and based on that, we have a national disaster management plan also placed. We have a national water policy, we have got a national climate change policy. The only thing that is required, and it is perhaps the best time that I should profess for it, that these policies are now required to be implemented. When it comes to implementation, there lies the main fault. And we have got 3 tiers of the system, the federal, provincial and the district level.
Yes, sir.
Allow me to say our district level tier is the weakest one, which is actually going to implement those policies on ground. We need to have a structure in such a way that by virtue of this present experience, that whatever the federal government now plans to implement, federal government should have an overarching role and overarching sort of a watch monitoring of that activity, and that is to be implemented by the province with the support of the district level. And at the provincial and the district level, there should be even the monitoring entities of the federal government present there. And then there should be reporting both bottom up and top down, so that we should be clear that the things are going well, the quality control is there, the ultimate results that have been envisaged in the plan are going to be good and as per the planning while it is implemented on ground. This is absolutely required, otherwise we should forget now.
Right. Sir, we have seen that in COP26 there was a lot of focus on the nature-based solutions and the eco-based approaches, and nature was a strong reference point for the disaster risk management, and you also talked about it, about the forestry, tree plantation, etc., right? And there is a momentum on the climate crisis going right now, but do you think there is enough momentum on to the walk to talk about this narrative?
I think that we need ourselves to take this process along. We need ourselves to be the champions or the torch barriers of this narrative. We have got this opportunity by virtue of the devastation that we have experienced on ground, And if I am not wrong, probably the next month, early next month, the COP27 is coming.
Yes, sir.
And whosoever, probably I know that perhaps the Prime Minister is going to lead the delegation. Whosoever are in that delegation, they should be given task, they should be given responsibility to spread out there, and then to talk about the devastation the country has faced. But at the same time, they should also portray the positive side of it, that we need now to convert into some sort of a paradigm shift. And for that, a good, well calculated delegation who is fully capable of projecting the country of all such issues on ground would be a wonderful thing to happen. And another important issue which our Minister for Climate Change is also talking much, and that is the climate justice.
Right.
We are basically the one who have got affected not because of our follies. It is because of something that has been done perhaps thousands of miles away, and now we have getting the brunt,
suffering, yes, sir.
the sufferings from that.
Right.
And let me share that not only such sort of a floods, our coastal line is getting more vulnerable. Our this landsliding issue is getting more vulnerable. Flash flooding is on the rise this year. This is something phenomenally unprecedented, that the hill torrents of southern Punjab, the water that they received and the havoc that they had created, God forbid if the situation that happened upstream in Sawat and all that, God forbid that had synchronized together, there could have been a bigger damage on ground with regard to riverine flooding as well. Because Guddu, Sakhar and Kotri and as well as Tonsa Barrage were in constant danger and constant high pressure for perhaps more than 28, 30 days. And we must also give credit to the managers of the barrages and the managers of the dams, and all those flood managers and the disaster managers who combinedly got that regulated from the river system. So we need to go, we need to project that we would be the one who should be given the first preference in providing the climate related funding, and then we should ourselves take some benchmarks and share there that, okay, if we are given such sort of a funding, we are going to get such things on ground, and then we can then project it for future funding as well. In the Warsaw, in the Warsaw Climate Change Conference, there was a loss and damage stream discussed there.
True.
But unfortunately, for the loss and damage stream, nothing has been said more except for that the early warning system should be improved and things like that. But what funding the loss and damage stream would be getting, we should go, we should talk on that, and then we should profess our case, we should plead our case in a way that why not our National Flood Protection Plan, which is about 350 million rupees, can be funded from that Global Climate Change Fund. Why not? This is the high time that we should go and we should plead that. Why not we go and say that our cities are required to be more resilient, because constantly for the last 4 or 5 years, the monsoon is putting so much of a pressure on
yes.
our those cities, and the economic activity and the human life is all getting disrupted and so much on ground.
Definitely.
So we need to profess that we would like to make our cities more resilient.
So, as Chairman Flood Commission as well, now just considering floods as part of the bigger disaster, because it is predicted that if God forbids another outbreak like this, Pakistan might not be able to survive economically as well. Then it is predicted with the global rise of temperatures in the next 5 years, the glacier outburst would be far greater than what we've experienced. How important does the early broadcast warning system become in times like these, where we can foresee this coming through the Met Office, through the Flood Commission as well, and then we can be better resilient and prepared for that calamity?
A very good question. Why should not the Met Department with the state-run television, PTV, join hands together.
Yes, sir.
And then whatever the situation on ground is relayed or is broadcast directly through our, the mobile technology and all that.
And PT involved, yes.
And PT involved in that.
Yes.
And further to that, now we do not need forecasting. We need nowcasting. When I say nowcasting, forecasting is for next 24 hours.
Yes, sir.
Nowcasting is for next 3 hours, 6 hours. Something is going to happen in a certain valley. There is a local system developed there. We need to have maybe a vehicle mounted radar system that can, that can be placed there, immediately predict what is going to come in the next 3 hours or
Hourly
so.
basis,
And
yes.
then it can be, given to all the relevant departments. One last thing.
Yes, sir.
We need to have, this is very unfortunate, we only have one flood forecasting division in Lahore of the Pakistan Met Department. This is the time we need to have forecasting division in Quetta, in Sindh maybe in Hyderabad, in Peshawar, in Gilgit-Baltistan maybe in Gilgit, and then in Muzaffarabad, and in Lahore is already, all those should be,
Combined,
networked and combined together. Each regional center should be able to do forecasting which will be very quick and precise for its own center. And then it can be then, shared with the central system in Lahore, with NDMA, with Federal Flood Commission, and with all relevant organizations. It will be a real-time sort of an effort. And then, very recently, courtesy Asian Development Bank, we have developed the National Master Plan for Flood Telemetry. That has brought out that there is a need of 679 flood telemetry stations to be placed on various secondary and tertiary rivers. So look, a river system is like a tree. This is Indus. These are all 5 rivers, and ultimately this is the Arabian Sea. Right? So these all rivers have small streams coming into them. Each small stream is further small streams and all. Why should not we, cover all those with flood telemetry system? For each and every small stream, we will have a data available, and by virtue of that, whatever that is coming into a single river at one entry point, then the Pakistan Met Department will have a much more precise water account available on which they are going to, or they will be able to make a much more forecast for that. We need to develop that. There is no telemetry system in Balochistan. There is no telemetry system in some part of Sindh as well as in upper parts of KP and GB. We need to have. The drainage system in Sindh has been badly impacted, badly affected because of the operation and maintenance issue.
And encroachments.
And encroachment. This should be taken as a national sort of a project to do it once for all. And finally, the River Act that was prepared in 2016 and that was shared with the provinces, we should put a condition on the province that if there is any damage, it will be seen whether that law was, was
enforced
in operation or
sir.
Otherwise. Because if the damage is on ground and there is no river act, no river law, and there is still encroachments, and we are encroaching the right of way of the rivers and all that, then it is not our mistake. It is the mistake of the implementers. So unless and until we are like this, both from top to bottom and then bottom to up, things are not going to become better. And one last input, we should see whether we need to have maybe a grand disaster management system under one single umbrella, all various idaras, all various institutions who are working for maybe Met Department, Federal Flood Commission, for many other
rescue and relief, anything like that.
All should come under single umbrella, and all should be given their particular role,
mandate,
maybe improved role, and then they should be implementing that, and then there is a command there, and then further command there.
Very true.
Wonderful.
Very interesting.
Very interesting and very nice input when it comes to the climate change discourse on it, sir. So we have seen that, that there's interlink a crisis, global crisis of the climate change, and entire globe is affected about it. So what is government doing about the green recovery? Because you're a government representative here.
I think that if we talk on that, there had been some efforts in the past with regard to tree plantation and a billion tree projects and things like that. Apart from that, awareness, number one.
Right.
School, college, university, introduction of new curriculum with regard to, just yesterday, one student, he was talking on a certain program, and then he was saying that he is going to apply for a master's in green infrastructure.
Right.
So, I was amazed to hear.
See that focus at that young level.
So we need to have such sort of subjects in our university level.
Absolutely, sir.
Right.
Very, very important. Academically as well, we need to. Sir, thank you very much for being on the show. Unfortunately,
very much.
we're short on time, but a lot of insight that has come, Hajra, and we do believe that the homework is there. All is needed is implementation.
Right. And we've also seen the reports where the South Asian people are more into the climate change discourse because they're worst affected by it, right? So with that, we will say Allah Hafiz and goodbye. Until next time, it's a good morning and Allah Hafiz.